With the landscape of yoga, and indeed our daily lives, shifting and changing on an almost hourly basis right now, it's important for us to consider how we can continue to reach our students and community while also providing ourselves with a way to thrive and support ourselves. You, as a yoga teacher and spiritual leader, are being deeply affected by the current pandemic. This is no joke. And I want to be here to help you rise above this challenge and do the best you possibly can to support you and your students during this time. In this podcast, we'll talk about ways for you to get your spiritual business online. It may be something that you've never thought about before, but I'm here to help you through it. Welcome to the Modern Mystics Podcast. I'm your host, Alana Kaivalya, the Yoga Doctor. I'm here to help you realize your potential as a spiritual leader and elevate your work in the realm of yoga, mysticism, and spirituality. This podcast covers all of our favorite topics: yoga, alchemy, astrology, divination, spirituality, psychology, ritual, and mystical practices, both ancient and modern. Get ready to up-level your status as a modern mystic. In 2015, I moved my business online. This was a while ago, and at the time, it was a very new and different thing to do. I'd had a vision of moving my business with yoga online for many, many years, and in fact, I had to wait for technology to catch up to what I wanted to do in order to make that vision come true. It's been a blessing, and there's been many times over the years that I've been incredibly grateful to have the large bulk of my work online, to be able to reach people in an accessible way in their own corner of the globe, no matter what time restrictions or limitations they might have. In times where I've been sick and challenged and wouldn't have been able to teach weekly classes, I've been grateful to have my business online. When I've heard people from remote areas who would not otherwise have access to yoga or higher education for yoga, I've been grateful to have my business online. For all the times that I've been able to provide higher education for those who would otherwise not be able to access it or afford it, I've been grateful to have my business online. For the times that I needed extra money for a rainy day, for the times that I wanted to take a vacation, all of those times, I've been grateful to have my business online. Now, these are things that I've come to realize and understand over the last 5 years, but never more than right now have I been grateful to have an online business with my yoga practice. Now, I know that for many people, there's a lot of resistance to this. I know that many have been fighting against putting yoga online for a lot of years. But the reality is, people also fought electricity. People fought to hold on to oil lamps long after electricity was already in place. And look at how we turn on the lights now. People who used typewriters fought hard when computers came out. And look at how we write letters now. Yoga online, it is a reality. It was a reality before, but even more so now, it is the reality. The last couple of weeks, I've witnessed yoga teachers in droves teaching classes on Instagram and Facebook to try to reach their students and community. I hope that everyone is discovering that this is a wonderful medium to reach your community members. Now, these are things that I've known for a long time. But again, now more than ever, I am grateful to know them. And most importantly, I am most grateful to be able to share this work with you, to help you if navigating online business is new for you in your yoga practice. I've been working really hard the last couple of weeks, going live in every medium that I know in order to make sure that I'm giving you resources to help you weather this storm. Because there are a couple of realities that are really happening to you, to us as a community right now. Yoga studios, yoga classes, yoga workshops, yoga teacher trainings, they're all canceled. And this is just, it's terrible. It's a harsh reality. It's a few weeks old. It's brand new for all of us, but it is what it is. It's safest for us right now, for the most part, to socially distance, to not gather in large groups. And what that means is that we need to change the way that we reach our students with yoga. Because what's also true is that because of social distancing, our students need yoga now more than ever. What we're experiencing is an incredibly stressful event. Stress levels are high. And when stress is high, our immunity takes a hit. And of course, none of us needs that at this moment. So we want to keep stress levels yet low. Yoga is primarily designed to help do that. And you are the one who can help people with that. Social distancing has other absolutely real challenging side effects. It increases anxiety, it increases depression, causes loneliness, apathy, boredom. These are things that we're starting to hear others talk about in our news outlets, on social media, the importance of maintaining elevated and positive mental health during this crisis, not just for our physical well-being, for keeping up our immune system, but for our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. These things are all so important right now, and guess what helps with all of those things? Yoga. So wherever you are, whatever kind of yoga you teach, you have to be doing it now. This is your call as a spiritual leader, to work with your community in the best way possible, and the best way possible right now is online. Now, I've encountered a lot of judgment about yoga being online for the last few years, and believe me, I've heard all of the challenges to this. I have. Oh, it can't be replicated online. You can't have a connection with people. It's impossible to see their alignment. All of these things are not true. The fact that I have taught thousands of students over the last few years how to do almost everything in terms of yoga online is a testament to the power of this medium to truly translate this practice. Think about it. People can get degrees in almost any discipline online. True higher educational degrees, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, PhDs with online courses. Why couldn't yoga be effectively taught online? It can. So I want to share with you some things today that, number one, are hopefully going to answer some questions and put your mind at ease about going online with yoga and the fact that you absolutely can reach your students through this medium, but also really how to do it and why it's so important that you do so. Again, my role here for these last few weeks has been to do everything I can to give you as many resources as possible to help you with this challenge. Because yoga studios are closed, yoga teachers are finding that their livelihoods are put at risk. Now, this isn't unique to this industry. There are many people across this country and, in fact, around the world who are finding their livelihoods in peril as a result of this pandemic. Now, while I understand that, I can't think of another discipline, another community, another area where people's livelihoods are being put at risk and they're being asked to work for free. No one is asking others to work for free, and we as yoga teachers should not either. Now, while I don't disagree that yoga should be accessible to everyone, and while I won't stop you from offering free services to students to support them, what I will encourage you every time I talk, and especially in this podcast, is to make sure that even if or even as you offer free services, that you're also giving your students a deeper and more powerful way to connect with you in a way that values your time and your offering. You are valuable. The work that you do is valuable. And yes, people need their yoga. But what they need is more from you than just a free online class on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook or Instagram is a fine medium to go live. It's a great way to reach people, absolutely. But the power of online learning and education in terms of yoga needs more than just that medium. We do need more interactivity. We do need more accountability. We do need a greater way to serve our students, to let them look back at the material, to interact with us, to talk to us, to have more education than we can provide in an online class that's live streamed through Facebook and Instagram. Now, I talk about this in great detail because this is what I see is happening now. And what I'm concerned about is that we are putting so many free classes on Facebook and Instagram that we're forgetting to take care of ourselves in the process. Now, I'm sure at some point, back in the good old days of a month ago, we've traveled, we've been around, and if we've been in an airline or in an airplane seat, we've heard that safety messaging. And in that safety messaging, it tells us a key thing. Number one, that we take care of ourselves and our oxygen before we help anyone else. That if there is an emergency on this airplane and this aircraft is going down, oxygen will drop from the ceiling and the first person whose mask we put on is ours. I want us to do this for ourselves. Now, I know that this is tough and it can also be counterintuitive as a spiritual leader and yoga teacher. We're here in this industry. We do what we do because we care about people. We are caregivers. We want to take care of themselves. We want to take care of them. And oftentimes, we do so in a way that puts them first, that deprives us of our well-being. When we are healthy, when we have what we need, when we have the ability to pay our bills and put food on our table, that is when we are most primely ready to serve others. If we are depleted, if we are in fear for our basic needs, it is much more difficult to give with our whole hearts. Now, this is something that I've experienced many times and over the course of many years. Having been in the yoga community for over 2 decades, I've certainly been quite privy to the stigma around money in our community. I know it exists. It happens. There is this idea that yoga teachers should work for cheap or free, that yoga's teachings should be free. This is not true. There's no other spiritual teaching out there that is explicitly free in this way. And for many other spiritual and religious traditions, their leaders, their spiritual leaders, are often well compensated and taken care of in many different ways. The yoga industry hasn't really evolved to take care of the yoga teacher first. I don't know why that is. There's many ideas that I have around that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And I've heard different accounts over the last couple of weeks about yoga teachers and what's happening with them at this time, that their livelihoods are gone, that studios are facing their own challenges. They may not be able to support the yoga teachers that work for them. Some are, and I think that they are rare, and I honor them for that. But for the most part, the yoga teacher has lost what might be their primary income. It is fair and appropriate for you to charge for your work, even in times like this. Think of all of the people who are doing extraordinary essential services for others. We would never ask them to work without compensation. We are not being asked to work without compensation. And like I said, I'm certainly not going to tell you at this time to stop doing free classes, but what free classes do is they bring down the value of our work. And they make it more difficult for us when we do want to value our work appropriately. So here are some recommendations for you. If you are teaching classes on Instagram and Facebook for free, consider making them shorter. And as a part of that free offering, tell your students what more they can do with you. Because I guarantee that right now, more than ever, they want more from you. In fact, now more than ever, probably, they need more from you. They want the interactivity. They want the accountability. They want richer, deeper content, again, than can be provided in a live stream setting. They want access to you. They want access to their peers. They want access to deeper teachings. And I know that you have something that you do that no other yoga teacher can replicate. There's a way in which you teach, something that you offer, a niche that you have that you can bring to your community in this extraordinary way right now. Now, I did a podcast on branding your business, which talks further about niching down and finding out exactly what your niche is. So if you have not listened to that, it's podcast number 12, and I highly recommend that you check that one out after this. It's going to be very complimentary to this podcast here. Because what you need to do is specialize. You need to tell people what specifically you can help them with at this time. Tell them on your social media platforms. And again, I did a podcast on this too. So if you haven't listened to podcast number 17, which talks about leveraging social media for success, you can listen to that one as well. So again, podcasts 12 and 17 will help to complement this podcast here right now. Finding your niche, understanding that you have an expertise, that there's a way in which you can help others is what will attract them to your work. Now, if you think about it, let's just take a moment and think about it. There is probably one student, maybe two, maybe three, but there's definitely one student that you work with that you absolutely love. Now, nobody likes to play favorites, but just for right now, bear with me. Let's give this a try. So think of that one precious, amazing student that you would love to work with every day for the rest of your life. If you could just have more students like this one, you know that you could make the biggest difference with them. You know, if all of your students were just like this one, that you would transform them on deep levels, make lasting change. That is the kind of student you want to find, and I promise you, there are many, many more just like that one student out there. In fact, this is something that I've realized. I also have a niche, and if I were only to work in my local area, I would quickly run out of people like that. But being online means that I can reach people all over the world who are just like my core tribe member or my core audience member. You can do the same. When you figure out the person that you work with, the one person that you can create the most change with, that is who you teach to. That is who you speak to. That is who you create offerings and programs for. And it might feel like you are talking to just one person, but again, I tell you, there are so many more out there who are just like that person who want exactly what you have to offer. Our work as yoga teachers and spiritual leaders is not to try to be all things to all people, but rather to be this one thing, the one thing that comes from our passion, that sets our hearts on fire in order to serve the very people that we can help most. Right now, people need help. And again, they need your skills and tools. So if you are doing something for free on live stream, then what I would suggest you do is make that a shorter offering and make it like a preview or like a snippet for the transformation that you can really create if you work with people further. Now, there are multiple ways to create something bigger for your audience right now with very little to get started. I do have an upward-facing business academy where I teach spiritual leaders just like you from start to finish to take their entire business online. It is a process, and it has an incredible community, and it has incredible results. What I will tell you is that right now, you don't need any of that. All right, if you want to join that, great. But what I'm not saying is that you need anything more than what you have right now. I promise you. With a simple program like Skype, which is free, or Zoom, which is free, you can create programs for your students, again, who want more for you. So at the end of your promotional offering on social media, you let people know that if they want more, here's how they sign up. Here's what they can do. You can tell them you're going to offer a 4-week group program or a 6-week meditation course or a weekend workshop just on Saturday about something specific, and have them sign up. There's easy ways to integrate PayPal with Zoom so that you can take payment, or you can simply have people PayPal you with a PayPal button that's easily put together, again, on a free service like PayPal. Telling them how to access something bigger with you is going to satisfy their needs. All right, they're at home. They're bored, probably just like you. They don't have a way to get out. They don't have a way to be with people. The coping mechanisms that allow us to de-stress during times of challenge and trauma are not available to us. So we need to replicate them the best way possible. You have coping mechanisms you can share with these folks. Share with them appropriately, and share with the folks who really want to hear this message. So let's talk about some ideas for what you might put together. And you can think of it in similar terms as what you would do at a studio. Why not? Why, at this time of great need on both your part as well as theirs, why not use what you have and put something together now for your students who are home, they're feeling anxious, they're feeling depressed, they're feeling bored, so that you can help them. So it could be something as simple as a Saturday workshop. For all of you who are here and want to work more deeply in this area, join me on Saturday at 10 a.m. in your time zone, and we'll talk more about this for the period of 90 minutes. We'll go in a deep dive so that they're getting more with you. And they're getting more access to you. If you use a service like Zoom or Skype, you can actually see their faces. You can have them talk back to you. You can answer their questions. You can have them type into a chat. They can type and talk to each other. It's a much more integrated, democratic, and intimate experience than just a live stream. You could tell people that you're creating a 4-week series. Maybe you're going to take 4 weeks to deep dive on a certain topic that you really know well that can help your students right now. Maybe it's a 4-week series to reduced anxiety. Maybe it's a 4-week series to a home meditation practice. Maybe it's a 4-week series to reducing stress during times of trauma or challenge. Maybe it's a 4-week series to help boost immunity through stress reduction. And you meet once a week, and again, you use the platforms that are easy, cheap, and free, like Zoom or Skype. Everybody meets, they get to know each other, and perhaps throughout the week, you check in with them on a private Facebook group that is just for these folks, where maybe you can add little extra videos or snippets or communiques or messages or questions to them throughout the week to keep them accountable and to let them know that you are here to support them. Perhaps you can offer a longer program, maybe a 6-week transformational challenge or a 6-week group coaching program. Now, it doesn't matter if you're, quote, certified as a coach or not. As a yoga teacher, you have the skills that you need to work people through specific challenges, just like a coach would. So call it coaching or don't, but perhaps you can work with a small group to move through some of the challenges that they're being faced with right now. This is bigger than just live streams, and this is the kind of value that when you provide it to students that they are happy to pay you for. Now, I know that times are tough. I know that money is a sensitive and tricky subject. No one here is trying to take advantage of anybody, and I know that none of us wants to take advantage of our students. What you can do is you could offer a sliding scale if that makes you more comfortable. But what I guarantee you is that whatever you charge for this online programming, number one, it's likely going to be less than what you would charge if it was at a studio. When things are held at studios, you have to build in the expense of hosting it at that studio. Realize that you're only going to get a percentage of that cut. The studio is likely going to take a majority of the money that comes in the door. So when you do something online, you can actually charge a little bit less than you would at a studio. Your folks will appreciate it right now in these times of struggle. And the best news, you're going to get 100% of that money. No cut will go to somebody else. You don't have to share it. It's yours. This is how you create sustainability and scalability in your business as a yoga teacher. Now, I've been talking to yoga teachers about doing this for years. That is not an exaggeration. I launched my Upward Facing Business Academy over 3.5 years ago, and I've been telling teachers since then to get their business online so that they're not solely dependent on a studio for their income, so that they can scale their work, so that they can stop trading time for money, so that they can have money for a rainy day. You deserve this as much as anyone else does. Your work is valuable, you are valuable, and it is appropriate, absolutely appropriate, to charge for your services, especially when you're providing more intimate contact and connection with your students like you would through a bigger program like a workshop or a 4-week course or a 2-week deep dive or whatever it might be. Again, meeting with these people in a more intimate setting like on Zoom or Skype, following up through a private Facebook group, giving them extra content, maybe checking in with them via email. There's a lot of ways to provide the additional support that, frankly, your students need right now, and in turn, to get the support that you also need to stay afloat, to thrive, to build your business online. Because it's never been more important than now to do that. And I promise you that if you do this now, if you get your business online in a real sustainable and scalable way, you're going to be so grateful that you did long after this crisis is a distant memory. So, I know that this podcast was a little bit serious, but it's been something that I've been really wanting to say for the last few weeks and something that I've been wanting to talk to you and present to you. Now, once again, I have a ton of resources for you, okay? I hope that this podcast has been one, but I've also got other resources that I'm putting out in as many different places as I can on my own social media, inside my highereducation.yoga membership. Inside the membership, which is something I do talk about on this podcast, we have community members who are just like you, who are working through this process. I've been doing live Zoom calls with those members in order to further educate them and support them. I have a $1 trial available for this membership, so I invite you to come join me at highereducation.yoga/trial. For a $1 trial, just come and hang out for 2 weeks, see if you like it, get as much as you can out of it. And again, I'm giving you resources. I have a free business course that I'm giving away to everybody to help them with this process, getting their business online. I have an entire COVID-19 resources page with everything I've compiled over the past 4 weeks. I'm really trying to do everything I can to help you, because I want to remind you sincerely from the bottom of my heart that I have always been here for you. I am here for you, and I will continue to be here for you in every way that I can. And I'm so grateful to have the ability to help you with this right now. And let me know if there's anything else I can do to continue to support you through this challenge. You know where to find me. And again, it's been my pleasure and my privilege to be here with you on the podcast today. Namaste.